does head them up, but there's a bit of a rapid approach from the rest of the boys hopping easily down the back straight. 3 wide, 5 turns to go. Elbows his way through. He takes the lead, but narrowly. And we've got Dax that turns it around and backs up to the side. Getting up time, but it's nothing ahead. Now in third place is Matt Parkinson, but he just gets that down the green bank straight by look at that, what a move! 356 on the inside from Matt Parkinson. Women's side found in That's the way they lie, with 3 laps this time as they come past the starter. There's the leader. .356, Matt Parkinson going very nicely. It's from Batley all the way down from Yorkshire, so this is quite southern. It's south of Watford as far as he's concerned, and nice to see them down here. They're scattered all over the place in the country, racing a variety of tracks. Ashley Parkinson still holding that second position. Ashley, another Batley boy. So we've got a right selection of Yorkshiremen up front here. Dan Bunyard from Rugby in third. Then 320 in fourth position. 1 lap to go, and it's looking pretty good now for 356. The checkered flag is being readied. We've got 3, 5, 6, 9. Then they're a little bit strung out, but Dean Cox hasn't given up hope of nicking that third position. He's been up and down the place in the TRS cart, but the checkered flag, down he goes for 3, 5, 6. Second, number 9. Then it's 53 and 320, 306 and 12. 27 and 8. We'll give you the rest of the result just as soon as we got it. That's quite lively, wasn't it? They look promising to me. Right, so that's race number 1 into the record books for this afternoon. And we've got for this afternoon all standing starts. Freddie Kinsella gets off very nicely in the 619. Santry in the 368. Mike Daniels in the 730. Tucking in behind him as they go through the lower turn. Everybody round there all A-OK. It tightens up a little bit on the exit to that bend as Mick Walker in 355 just found out or relearned. Mick from Peterborough going very well at the beginning of the season, been having a bit of a terrible time since then, and it looks like it hasn't got any better. 355 coasting to a halt on the infield. It's 519, 368, 730, 781, 340, 505, 578, 484, 305, 319 at the end of 2 laps. Fred Kinsella though leading. And it looks like Fred might have found his niche in this particular formula. He's certainly been setting quite a good pace in that, in the Chobham car spares machine. 368 Steve Santry, with all sorts of experience of the nation's racetracks, is right behind him though, and looking like he means business. That car looks pretty fresh. Behind that, Mike Daniels, another Ringwood man who came with the track, so to speak, also from Paul in Dorset. Teabag Mike, on account of his profession. He's the man who puts in the little perforations, or at least mends the machines that do. 781, Neil Wallington there in 4th place. Just behind him, Kenny Coleman and Billy Wood, who is the man who heads both the championships in this class. Billy has been on fire this year, but the poor fellow is suffering today with the hay fever. He has a terrible time with that, apparently, and today was not exactly feeling totally chipper, but knowing Billy, that'll soon be shaken off as the laps go by, and he'll be working his way towards the front. It's 519 Kinsella going through, and towards us on the starter, there's Steve Santry looking for a way down the inside. Not quite enough room or time yet. Black Cross for 730, Mr. Starter. Black Cross for 730. Oop, a little touch there as they go through the top turn. Steve Santry outbraked a touch by Kinsella. Kinsella just a little bit unsettled as they go into the bottom. They're well sideways, and Freddie goes around. And Wallington runs head on into him. That's probably done both of them out of the race, I'm sure it is. Yeah, Fred Kinsella can limp off, and it looks like Neil Wallington's car now shedding steam. It's 3:68, 7:30, 3:40, 5:05 as they come by us. They'll be completing 9 laps next time. A black cross for 3:68, a black cross for 3:68. Not altogether unexpected. Steve Santry in a little bit in stock car mode there for a second. 3:68, 7:30, 3:40. Kenny Coleman in 3rd place. Billy Wood now in 4th, albeit with a couple of guys having gone out in front of him has helped Bill's position, but Billy now looking for a way by Coleman, goes straight in there. They're good mates, these two, and have been known to loan cars. That could continue. Billy's on the inside now, moves up to 3rd position. He's got his sights set on the checkered flag, but he's got a little bit to do. Steve Santry is leading. He may be penalised for that piece of contact earlier on, we don't know. 7:30, Mike Daniels also with a black cross, so things looking pretty good for Bill Wood in the 5:05. Kenny Coleman driving quite steadily there, another man who combines the lightning rods with those other Sierras. This time we'll be completing 12 laps as they come by. And 3 cars then out of the race during the course of these lightning rods. They'll be fixed, I have no doubt, but that was bad luck on the leaders as things happened during the course of that. Steve Santry, the man who hanging on to the lead at this time, Cambridgeshire driver. Behind him, Mike Daniels from Dorset, 5:05. Billy Wood just down the road at Aldershot. 15.5-second lap for Gavin Botfield. Now then, we've been overlooking Gavin, and he's moving up nicely now, having got into 5th position in the 3:05 car. And Billy Wood, in fact, just knocking 0.02 of a second off of that time, so the lap records are going down here at Bovingdon. The lightning rods have near perfect conditions. The track's not slippery. It is quite open racing, not too much traffic. It's going to be fast. 5 to go this time, 5 laps to go for 3:68 Steve Santry. And Billy Wood makes a move up the inside of Mike Daniels. Can't quite pull it off coming through the top turn. Has another little go down the inside on the bottom bend. Has a bit more luck this time. Can he make it stick up the back straight? He's certainly not about to break, and Mike has got the long way round now. That's all he can do, is hang on. There's a little bit of debris in the top turn, so Billy Wood up into 2nd position. You can see why the man is leading these championships. He does race fast, consistently quickly. He can lap fast, he can pass people. That's what it's all about as a racer. Still Santry with 3 laps to go. 5:05, 7:30, 3:40, 3:05. Gavin Botfield. Then we've got the group of cars towards the back. 5:78 Wilkins, 4:84 Nigel Reed out of Norwich, and the 3:19 of Mick Mulcahy. 2 laps to go. Doesn't look like Billy Wood is quite going to get a run up to the leader. That would be that'd be a great deal of ask of him in the last 2 laps, but he'll come close, and then we'll just see what the steward's decision is. 7:30 Daniels still there in 3rd position. Coleman getting all crossed up as Gavin Botfield leaps all over the curbstones. My goodness, that nearly took them. I think we very nearly lost 2 cars there. He's hopping over the sleeping policeman on the inside, which look about the size of small mountains. No doubt in a stock car. Bad enough in a lightning rod. There's the checkered flag then for Steve Santry, and we'll give you the result in a moment. Billy Wood running in 2nd, then 7:30 Daniels, 3:40 Coleman, 3. I don't think he races down here too often, but certainly that level of good effect, he can race here again. I'm spitting the old teeth out this afternoon. It's been a late night. No, here it is at my age. You're really too old to rock and roll, too young to get up in the morning, I think. That's probably it. Poor old Neil Wallington's car. The green flag waves. It's a standing start. Chris Leheck gets away nice and quick. We've got a good field of 2-litre hot rods here for you. And I think we're going to have some cracking racing this afternoon. Jason Q's carving through him quite quickly as Brett Collison moves to the outside to let him through. Mark Fuller settling in behind 231 Neil Jessup. It's 615, 503, 112, 87. Side by side sliding with Jason Wilkes and Mark Pappy. Those two are never very far apart in any race. They're right behind Randall and a problem for Martin Codlin, who slows right up on the back stretch. 3 wide, there they go. Looks like Martin Codling got himself a little trouble. Up the back stretch, it's 615 Chris Leheck, 503 Chris Harvey, 112 Charlie Shembry, 87 Jason Busby, Neil Jessup and Jamie White hammer and tonging it, and Jason Q and Mark Fuller also side by side. Stephen Weeks is looking very good indeed in the 114. Up the back stretch, and plenty of traffic there. Fuller going down the outside in the 68, and a black cross for number 31. Black cross for 31. Blue flag also waving to move the traffic over a little bit. Drivers not holding their line, and Jamie White gets shoved right to the outside as the guys behind come through. Lee Pepper and Stephen Weeks in a hurry, along with Mickey Pagden, who somehow slipped by the whole lot of them. No good racing for a long time if you don't learn something, and Mickey's certainly been racing a long time. 6150, Chris Leheck is the man in the lead in the Diaday racing car. Oh, Chris Harvey muscles his way up the inside in the 503, barely touching the sides with Jason Busby, and then Charlie Shembry, another of your local heroes here at Bovin. And it's a black cross for car 68, black cross 68. The tussle is certainly on at the front, though. It's 503 Harvey versus 87 Busby, and those two now starting to look and make a break for it. Charlie Shembry not managing to get by in the 112. Still blue flags are flying. I think that's aimed at Jamie White, who's now holding the inside as the superstars Paffy and Wilkes now squeeze by. Gary Goodswin getting a little bit shut out and boxed in that one. Once you get onto that inside line, if someone can get the outside, they have an advantage coming out of the turn. It's 87 Busby now that leads, though he said he hasn't been having a lot of luck with that car since he got hold of it. Sure looks different to me now. It looks like it could be a good day for Jason. He was very, very quick when he first started racing, right from the get-go, and he certainly hasn't slowed up in that ex-Randall car. 87 503 112 Shembry now through to third, and Q in 174 follows suit in fourth. Black cross for 566, black cross 566. Jason Busby looking good in the 87, in the distinctive orange, coming down past us and completing 12 laps next time. 11 and a half in the bag. It's 87, 503, 112, 174, 31, 615, 68, 197 and 155. An early charge by Steve Weeks seems to have petered out a little bit. He was going rather well, but then we have some very quick men even behind that. We've got Paffy and Wilkes, not made a lot of impression on this race. They weren't able to get through the traffic earlier on. There's a bit of bumping and grinding in mid-pack, but certainly a great start. A black cross 114, a black cross 114. The black cross is coming thick and fast in this one. And 197, the black cross for 197, and there we go. By Jove, they'll all have one at this rate. 5 laps next time for Jason Busby in the 87, coming out of the top turn now. 87, 503, 112, and Mickey Jowers now starting to look a bit threatening. But Jason Q's got the bit between his teeth. Second generation racer, and he's done the rounds of everything from mini stocks upwards, and a gritty young racer is Jason. In the 174, we're now putting the pressure on Charlie Shembry. Move over, Chaz. I could do with that third position, I beg your pardon. Charlie's not having any of that just at the moment. The Tigra, he says he needs a better engine in that, but certainly it's a cracking little car. It looks wonderful. 3 laps go out for Busby in the 87. Harvey still hanging on there in the 503. Shembry now having to fend off all comers. Mickey Jowers might well make one of his famous passes around the outside if he gets half a chance, but Jason Q is not leaving him too much room for that. Nothing untoward, but certainly he's not going to leave too much of a gap, or Jowers will certainly try it on. Jowers now goes to the inside. It's all about third place this time as we come round to get the last lap board. It's Charlie Shembry who holds the key to that third place. He's driving an immaculate race so far. He wants to hang on to that third. The other guys have got to find a way around him, and so it should be. Up the back stretch then for the last time. 87, Jason Busby in the L5 eBay car sales car. Jason Busby, 87, 503 Chris Harvey. Charlie Shembry hangs in there for third. There is some adjustment to do, I think, to places. We'll tell you what they are in just a moment. And it's the red flag Please, Mr. Starter. Still a little debate over the placings. There's a few adjustments. As you saw, Black Cross is coming thick and faster in that one. Clean racing is supposed to be what it's all about. Ain't always easy on a tight little track like Bovey when you've got a whole lot of... And before you even start, there's a Black Cross for 569. Well, there you go. That's an early starter for you. The bangers are away. This is 3 laps, remember, of non-contact racing before they go into the heavy stuff. 569 gets away to a good start. 723, 768. Everybody's off and running. The idea of the first 3 laps being non-contact is to make sure we get as many cars into the race as we can. A little bit of a raggedy start, I thought, but nonetheless, the boys will be pretty enthusiastic about it. He'll go down the backstretch and already lapping people in the 569 is John Appleton. So John's not hanging about. His little Honda Civic he's got there. Rather a rapid little motor car, I'd say. Not always the least fragile of cars out there, so watch out for John in the 569. He's your leader this time with 723, 768 and 34. That must be inimitable Baz. It is Baz. Black flag for 702. Black flag for 702. Some transgression that we'll let you know about. 569 Appleton's the leader though, and going very nicely with Williams 34 moving up. 768 now holding second place. 569 coming up through the top turn in the red and black car. He gets taken out, or does he? He's hanging on for dear life. He's gone. He's into Baz in the 34. So that's 768 now leading from 34. Grump is in trouble. John Boy's in the wall. Black 569 and treble 2. Black flag 569 and treble 2. Well, they are being naughty. But up on 2 wheels on the backstretch goes 135, 705 hooked up alongside him. We're looking for our leader. He's got himself in all sorts of bother somewhere because we've lost sight of the boy. There he goes up the backstretch. He's okay. He's into turn 4. Baz was demolished during the course of trying to take the lead, which is a bit of a shame for him, but it's 768 who now leads. 112 is in second place, and we've got him, 112 going around there. That's Pete Stevens, the man who leads the track championship, going nicely up the backstretch in the green one. Behind that, we've got 333, 329, 773, but 768's your leader. He's going through the bottom turn now, past the pit gate, and up the backstretch, pausing only to go past Swifty. Oh no, he's changed his mind about that. I think he thinks that he might have had a little bit of a problem in passing the man. Harold Swallow, of course, is his real name. Swifty he's known as. It's all birds to me. And indeed, aforementioned Swifty administering a quick stuffing up to the 81 of John Woolley. But Pete Stevens, the second place man, now got the leader in his sights. Pete's had a taste for it. He's also a scrutineer around these parts. Used to race the V8 stock cars. 800 stranded in the middle of the track. Not a place I'd like to be, Tony Henshaw. He's just holding his breath for a minute. The traffic passes him without any difficulty. There's your leader coming up back past the green bank. The black flag is out for yet another car. They do see them in due course, you know. That's for 280. Thank you very much, Vince. He's one step ahead of me there with the old flag. That's not surprising. Right then, where are you? Oh, Stevens makes his move up the outside. They've got a lot of traffic in between them. I think 768 is now coming up for a black cross as well. So 768 a black cross. That's the leader. Pete Stevens is right there with him. In third place now, we've got 412. Yeah, I think Howie's still there, menacing the back markers as they go through them. In fourth position, we've got 697. And that's Richard John, the man with the nifty haircut. 707 up and very nearly over. He gets spun out bodily as Mike Askew. It certainly went askew for him. 3 abreast coming out of the top turn, a whole bunch of back markers. It's Bones O'Leary's in there. He's getting to it with the 329. We've got the 112, the leader now, Pete Stevens, with 5 laps next time. 5 laps next time for Pete Stevens in the 112 car. 768 is in second position. And then we've got 412 should be with us. He passes by, yes indeed. 697, 77. Looks as though he's going nicely. I'd make him in somewhere around about 5th position now. And right behind him, 329. Also standing on it, Nick Parrish. Bones managed to find his way past the 697 as Stevens gets taken out. The leader's out thanks to 529 Conlon. Wow, now then, that changes the race for us. And the second place now looks very much... He did actually escape, didn't he? So Pete Stevens, a little bit of a charmed life there. He shouldn't have got away with that, but he did. He was so far in front that he just managed to get back on the track and stay in the lead, which was a bit of a surprise. No, I beg your pardon, 768 did pass me now. Well, it's all right. It's a good job someone's scoring the laps in here. No transponders on these cars. This is done the manual way. Here we go, 2 laps to go for 768. He's your man. And one guy, of course, with whose name I do not have on my list. That's good. In second position, it's 112 Stevens. And then I think it must be Bones in the 77, running in third in the little Fiesta. Tony O'Leary, he's the man, takes out a back marker with aplomb. Look at that, he can do that while still maintaining a strong position. Swift is still there in the 412. Then there's 701 of Richard John, he's still with us in the placings. The checker flag is ready though. 768 around the top turn. He did have a black cross to his credit, so we'll see how that affects him. He had a couple of laps out of the lead, otherwise pretty much all the way, thanks to the bad luck that befell Pete Stevens in the 112. Bones is with us, I think. There he goes. The familiar skull on the roof. We've got 412 and the red flag can be had. Thank you very much. There they go then, the stock carts underway for their second heat of the afternoon, and the number 7 of Steve Lever wastes no time in getting off the mark. But there's fairly quick starters behind him, it has to be said. They do hop and jump. He's already got a bit of a challenge from the 12 has come past there. We can do some better numbers on that one, but no number at all this side for Carl Hayes. He wishes to remain anonymous, and he will do. That lap score had her way. 53 in third position. Dan Bunyard going nicely. He's obviously a bit of a John Lund fan, I should think, judging by his number. The 356, though, coming nicely through Matt Parkinson once again. He seems to quite know his way around Bobby at a stroke. They have been here once before. I am reliably informed by my sources, which I wasn't here, so I've no idea. The 320 Dean Cox is also motoring well in the stock car models TRS kart, and behind him, putting on a little bit of pressure. And in fact, it looks like there's going to be a bit of bumper pressure from Sean Atkinson. Plonk, in it goes, and Dean's car is hopping out of the way, and the position is taken. So, we have a back marker there looking as though they might well be quite short order. Don't have a name for that one, but we've got the 12, we've got 53, 356, 8, 306, 320. That's the way they run at the moment. Bit of a scrap on for 7th position between 27 and number 7. 7's dropped back from that just a touch. It does look to me as though the man who's got the pace this time is 53, Dan Bunyard, the rugby man in that gold kart, which looks as though it does handle the bumps. You wouldn't think there were that many bumps, would you, Bobby? It looks ever so smooth with most of the classes, but these little short wheelbase karts with their rather chunky wheels are finding every bump. And no, they certainly don't want to be cruising over the sleeping policeman, otherwise that will be a wake-up call and probably a sore bottom. It's 5 laps next time for number 12, with 53 homing in on his back bumper. We've seen that can be quite effectively used. They don't do the sort of kamikaze tactics that we're used to from the bangers, probably fortunately. But Matthew Parkinson's got a little bit of room to catch up in the 356. The pressure's on the leader though, 53 Bunyard. is close enough, very nearly, to give a nudge to the Terry Clark haulage cart of Carl Hayes. I'm not sure if they've got mirrors, but if there is one, then the 53 will be looming large in Carl's right now. Race is also on for fourth place between 8 and 3:06. Sean Parkinson and Colin Bunyard. 53 Dan Bunyard, though, can't seem to find a way at the moment of dislodging the 12 of Carl Hayes. He's not managed to get a good hit in on it, and I think Carl's sort of playing with the distance there. He's got 3 laps to go. Might just be able to hang on. They don't seem to have a great deal of difference. I mean, they've only got 13 horsepower each to start with. Sounds they're revving them fairly well. I think they've got centrifugal clutches and various other sort of bits to make them real easy to build and drive. In goes Bunyard, and with a bounce of wheels, a little bit of open wheel and jiggery-pokery going on there. 53, 12 and 356. 356 is now close and could just conceivably make this his second win of the afternoon if he can find a way past the 2 lads who have now, I imagine that the 53 might better pull away some. He's certainly going to give it a crack though, Parkinson, and they passed the back marker, Danny Boy in the 74 without too much trouble. But Matthew lost a little ground. He made it up through the top turns, but there's only a lap and a half to go. Now then, it's 53, 12, 3, 5, 6, 8, who is also getting very close to the red line car. Checkered flag is up, and it's going to be 53 on the line from 12. So a good win there for Dan Bunyard. Nicely timed. Lost a blue fleece. That is available at the entrance. Somebody must have dropped it, and they haven't even noticed. That's because it's so wonderfully warm here at Bovey. It's a terrific place on a sunny summer. Leads the championship. Billy Wood was certainly on good form in that one. Bill gets a good start in this one. He's alongside Mick Walker, who failed to finish race 1 due to unspecified difficulties with the car. It's 519.368, and down the outside is one of the Dorset boys. Can't see whether that's which one we got there at the moment. Is that Mike Daniels or Neil Wallington? I think it's Daniels in the 730. It is. And Mike is in second position in the Lohman and Jones series, just behind, some 22 points behind Billy Wood. So Mike Daniels would dearly love to be at least 2 or 3 cars up on Billy. That ain't going to happen the way things have been going, but Mike's through on the inside in the 730, and once he's up front, he runs very quickly indeed. 368 Santry, though, is already putting the pressure on him. Freddie Kinsella is just behind that in the 519. Then it's Billy Wood in the 505. Kenny Coleman in the 340. Mick Walker in the 355. Cross the line then, Daniels. And it's a black cross for 619, Mr. Starter. Black cross for 619. 730 Daniels it is then that leads, going up through turns 3 and 4. And he's got Steve Santry pressuring him in that fairly much newer car. I mean, they're all equal on performance, really. They go to the same sort of engine builders. They've all got the 2-litre Ford under the bonnet of these Sierras. They can be the hatchback, they can be the booted Sierra, whichever you like, 2-door, 4-door. Not a lot of variety in the mechanical department, and they are all much of a muchness on lap times. They take a lot of hanging on to and a lot of getting round a track as tight as Bobby. It's 730, 368, 505, 519, 619, 340, 355, 578, 305. Gavin Bockfield started to look good. Black flag 484, black flag for 484. He's already off. He knew it. He couldn't see where he was going, so that was a bit of a clue. Bad luck, not having a very good day, old Nigel, in the 484, all the way from Norwich, and up comes the bonnet. There will be words in the pits, I don't doubt. 7:30 then, it's Daniels for Santry, and Wood and Kinsella just loses that 4th place to Coleman and Walker. Mick Walker started the season pretty well. He was having the winter meetings, he was going extremely well at Wimbledon. It's dropped off a little bit lately. The blue flag is shown to hold the line. And Billy Wood now plotting Steve Santry's downfall as they go up around the top turn. Doesn't take much. Steve's just a little bit wide. In goes that man Wood. And Billy loves his racing, and he's never anything less than 99% committed. Yeah, the other 1% may be failing on account of his hay fever, from which he's suffering today. Kenny Coleman in the 340 holding a nice 4th position. Then it's Walker and Wilkins and Bockfield. Neil Wallington nodding, having a lot of luck in this in the 781, and 619 Kinsella very nearly out of it and across the centre green. He got somewhat sideways coming down past us. Gavin Bockfield makes a move on Ben Wilkins as they go up into the top turn. Blue flag for 340, if you will, Mr. Starter. blue flag for 340. The leader's getting away from the rest of the crowd, and Kenny Coleman just being a touch erratic perhaps on the line. Not the easiest of jobs to keep a Sierra under control, as we said, on a tight track like this. But it's certainly close at the front, and Billy Wood's going to have a look at the outside line. He's tired of sitting there on the inside waiting for Mike Daniels to make a mistake. But that lets Steve Santry in, but it's worth a shot. We'd rather see a man try around the outside and fail than just sit there for lap after lap. And Billy may have regretted that move perhaps, but he doesn't quite have the extra oomph to get by Daniels in the 730. But Steve Santry now muscles his way up the inside in the 368, but it ain't over yet. We've still got a few laps to go. It's 5 laps next time. 5 laps next time for the 730 car. So, can he do it? Billy Wood hung out on the outside to dry at the moment, and didn't quite have the legs of the other cars to be able to pull off the pass, but he switches quickly. Chris switches to the inside line and very nearly gets a touch of contact as he does so, but Steve Santry, probably surprised to suddenly find the 505 where he didn't think he was, certainly had to give way. So Bill Wood back up to second, a little bump from Santry as they go through the bottom bend. 730, 505, 368, 340, 355, 305 and 578. 3 laps to go. Still Mike Daniels, the teabag man from Poole in Dorset. And it's a black cross for 305. Black cross 305. Daniels still hanging on there. He's going nicely. There's a black cross coming up now for 305. Gavin Botfield getting a little too close and friendly to the car in front in the last lap. 340 Coleman still there in fourth, but it's 355 Walker, 305 Botfield, 578. 1 lap to go. It's Mike Daniels who leads in the KLK Services car, and he's got Billy Wood, who, if he's going to pull anything off, has got 1/2 of a lap in which to do it. Certainly the point situation won't have got. And the little touch as they go through the top turn. What a close finish. Very good stuff from the lightning rod boys. This year, who leads? Everybody clean, clear and away. 44, 615, 505, 503, 112, 5068, 87. Jason Busby got a lot to do this time, starting from his back place position. We don't let people go from the front of the grades for too long. And Dave Garrett gets into a spin. Chris Leheck helps him on his way. Poor old Chris Harvey gets trapped. 68. Red flag, please. Red flag and a restart on that one. Bad luck on Dave Garrett, but even worse luck, I think, on Chris Harvey to try and get away and out-drag each other down past the starter. And it's Leheck that manages to do that in the 615. Charlie Shembry, Neil Jessup, then 50 Jamie White, 87 Jason Busby, 275 Collison, 68 Fuller, 174 Q. That's the way they race at the opening stages of this restarted Heat 2 for the 2-litre hot rods. Chris Leheck then used to do a lot of his racing on the dirt tracks. He's been converted to Speedworth Racing during the last couple of years. Settled down nicely. He's been all over the place. He's been to Great Yarmouth, been to Ringwood. He's been to all the tracks. And it's a blue flag for number 50. Blue flag for Jamie White, number 50. 618, 503, 112, 231. That's the way they go. Then it's White, Busby getting the squeeze as he went down towards turn 1, but manages to come through there in 5th position. 6 is White in the 50, then Collison, and the scrap on for 9th place between Mickey Jowers in the 31 car and 68 Mark Fuller. Up the back stretch though, it's 615 Leheck, 503 Harvey, 112 Shembry, looking pretty good in this one. Charlie seems to have squeezed a little more power out of that engine. He wants to replace it and get himself something with a little more horsepower. He spent a lot of time and money on the car, but the engine does need an upgrade, he says. He's running in 3rd position, going nicely. Neil Jessup behind that. Nice guy from Eastbourne. Races at Arlington. He's done the stock rods, the usual sort of path into the hot rod formula. Finally getting that 231 car to fly. 87 Jason Busby going nicely in the ex-Randall Clio. Then there's the 174, 50, 31 Jowers. He's in there again. Every time there's an opening, it goes Mickey. Up the back stretch though, 615, 503, 112, 231. Busby making a move to try and take fourth place away from Neil Jessup. He just about squeezes in there in time to get turned in to turn 3. We come around to complete 9 laps next time. Still Chris Leheck, Chris Harvey. Jamie White spins around right in front of us here, so bad luck to him. Popped out of the pack and just hoping that he's going to wait till the traffic's come by before he pulls back in. He's got a good clear view of the track that's coming towards him. He should be okay. Rejoins at the back, but bad luck, Jamie. Not good when you're leading the championship to be losing a handful of points. That's what's happened. 615, 503, 112, 87, 231, 174, 31, 197. Then it's Mark Fuller in the 68. 30, 43, Mark Paffey finally starting to make some progress. It won't be until the longer 30-lap final, I think, that the star grade guys will come through, because, boy, there is just such a lot of good competition in the lower grades these days. That is not an easy job to get through from the back of the pack, and they really can't do it in anything less than about 30 laps. So they'll be doing the best they can in the heats, the likes of Paffey, of Wilkes and so forth, and in the final is when you'll see them really, really pull out the stops. You've got to be a lucky man to get through the traffic and get up to catch those fast-flying lower-grade cars, and there's a heck of a scrap going on amongst those lower-graded cars. There's Chris Leheck and Chris Harvey still battling away. Harvey might just try and move on the inside, but Busby is the man who's coming through in the 87. He's driving a superb afternoon, is Jason, in that 87 car. 5 laps next time, Mr. Starter, 5 laps. Out of the top turn, and Chris Leheck still managing to pace the race to his liking. He's under a bit of pressure, but I think it's going to be Jason Busby is the man who's going to force the pace. At the moment, Chris Harvey's not been able to do anything about the leader. He may have to, or settle for third, because I don't think Busby is going to be in the mood for taking any prisoners. He's driving a nice clean race, just keeping that little bit of distance between himself and the 503 car. Closes right up going into the turns, but he's not touching. He's looking for a way by. 3 laps to go. He's running out of time to find it. Charlie Shembry's car sounding very, very sick as he comes by us. I think that engine may be sooner rather than later as far as Chaz is concerned. That is not sounding good. Jason Q is going to look good now for that 4th position. And Jowers and Pagden are hard at it. Out of my way, son. A bit of elbow work as they go through the top turn. 615, 503, 87. 174, 112. Looks like Charlie Shembry's going to wring the very last out of that engine. It sounds like it's very bad misfire. I don't think it's mechanical difficulties, so maybe a better fix it for later. On his last lap, and with Jason Busby now breathing down his neck, Chris Leheck in the Diaday car. They make contact in the top turn, and Leheck spins. It's Busby on the inside. It's Harvey on the inside of that, who is totally blameless for any of that sort of thing. We'll have to see how the result goes. But what a bit of a turn on the last turn. There you go, a red flag. Managed to hold them off at Swaffham for the final win. So Chris Harvey in pretty good shape at the moment, and that should bring him up the points. He's hoping that he will make the red grade very soon, because apart from the penalty, they've started a bit further back, pasting in the first race, but are back to tell the tale. In the 419, we've got Lee Hawkins. He's always good value. The Grumpies, Dr. Steele, Grumpy, Donny, and the rest of the lads seem to be in good form. 412, Howard Swallow. 34, Baz Williams. The 697 man, the man with the number shaved into the back of his head, Richard John, all the way from Catford in South London. We got looks like a VW Golf is a bit of an unusual choice for your man 529, Conlon. Keith, a second-generation racer. Good family, the Conlons, always been well into the old banger racing. Pete Stevens is out there too, but they've got the 3 laps of non-contact-ish racing to go. Bones O'Leary's wasting no time in that little Fiesta. He's flying. 222 holding him off, James Pryor. 723 is off and out of the race. The leader's 718, then it's 569, 424, 768, 333, 729, and a black cross for number 81. That's Charlie and or Jack. I think we'll probably find that's John Woolley actually in the 81. And he gets a black cross for a little bit of jiggery-pokery during the course of the 3 non-contact laps. Dr. Steele is not doing too well. He's being lapped already. That's Jeremy Keogh. And he's dropping back down as the leaders go by to lap him. 3 laps are now completed. And I'm sure the action will be coming thick and fast very shortly. You can see the 569 car that went so well earlier on, Johnny Appleton. And he takes the lead on the back stretch as they go up to the top turn. 768, who did very well indeed, and then seemed to have some difficulty accepting his penalty at the end of the race, was being a naughty boy in the first one, basically. Out goes 569, so bad luck strikes once again on John Appleton, and up the back stretch it's 768 versus 718, 333 Paul Gomm coming into home in on them. There's 424, getting spun around on the bottom. Oh, there's loads of cars look like they caused some trouble there. Black flag for 565. He's got a flat tyre, 565, should he make it around here. Meanwhile, back with the leaders, we've got 768 back in the lead. 705 is setting about him. Black cross for 702. Black cross for 702. Dr. Steele, who's having a little bit of a problem on the back stretch. 112, a black cross for Pete Stevens too. And Pete Stevens already out of things a little bit, effectively losing a lap on the top bend. We've got 768 now, the leader. He comes sailing through. He's got 333 Paul Gomm behind him. And then we've got 280 and 729. And Lee gets a whack in the Southern Bandits car. He's really being hassled down the straight by 34 Baz Williams. Baz is getting stuck in. Gomm spun out. 222 is over there. 768 has now been spun out on the top turn. 280 goes into the lead. So 280, Mark Rennick inheriting the lead as Howard Swallow does his darndest at the top to make sure nobody else finishes. Gomm starts again. Black flag for 539, black flag 539. And a black flag for 112. Black flag for 112. Here's our leader. Oh, and the red flag out. We've got a roller in a biggest way going up the back stretch. Didn't see what fired him off, but we saw where he finished up. They're peering in there. You all right? They usually are. Yep, he's up and out. Well done. Bit of a round of applause for that man. Best and only. And it's a 5-lap dash to the checkers, and the man who's got a dash faster the most, Mark Rennick in the 280, because he's got Paul Gomm breathing down his neck with 768 and then 77 and 34. That's Mr. O'Leary and Mr. Williams, two of the quicker banger racers around here, and who take no prisoners. 280 though is the man who's into lap traffic. 705, Craig Cheetham. Is right in the line of fire at the moment. 280 goes down the outside. He seems to have got quite a good turn of speed in that car, and Gomm goes very sideways down the bottom. We've got 222 and 424 have a coming together right in front of us where we can enjoy it most. Jim Pryor is in the wall and he's out of the car. Right then, we look for the leader, and O'Leary's come to challenge for that second position. He's going through on the inside. Bones is certainly on a flyer now. That little Fiesta is quite a quick machine. As long as he can avoid the attentions of all the other old boys who'd like to dump him in the wall, as indeed does 702 goes that way. Jeremy Keogh comes with us. That's Dr. Steele in sorts of problems once again. We are now looking for... It's 280, it's 77, it's 34, it's 333. Here's 280. He's got some back markers in front of him now, but his opposition, that is the guys who want to catch him, have dropped back a little bit. He stops to spin the 418 car, manages to do that with some style. Oh, wow, way! And hurtling down the track with some style there, demolishing 2 parked cars. 718 certainly in trouble. 424's in trouble now because 697 Richard John's just taken him clean out of the race. Right then, the last lap for the leader. 280 is circulating around the top in some pretty dangerous company, it must be said. 329 and 697, Richard John, who is in a mood for putting a few out. It's too late though. The checker flag's there and it's all over. And the red flag rather swiftly, so we can have a bit of a clear up. I think we're going to need it. The Cecil team, they are 703 Ben Keogh. They're having a lot of fun, not exactly picking up too many places, but hey, they're novices at this banger racing game. Second position in that race then was a man who is far from being a novice. That's Tony Bones O'Leary. They last each other quite a bit once they get speed up, and then with the wind behind them, they are quite swift indeed. And it's Steve Lever in the number 7, and in the number 12, Carl Hayes. I think we had out there in no particular order. We got Colin Bunyard in the 306, Dean Cox. Okie dokie then. The stock carts are away for their last scramble of the afternoon, and we've had some good racing from them. We've got Crash Ashton back out there and Danny Boy. Those two perhaps a little off the pace this afternoon, and indeed in Crash's case, this is only his second race of the day. He's been furiously fixing the car. The race is on at the front though, look at that, up the inside goes the number 12, and I think there's going to be a scramble for this one. Coxey's going a little better in the 320 this time. He looks like he really fancies a piece of the action in this final. We've got 12, 7, 320, 53, 356, 8, 306 and 27. That's the running order as they complete their second lap. It sounds like a thunderous... oh, and look at that, what a move. Yeah, Dean Cox up there past the inside of the number 7 car. And so it's 12 that leads. That's Carl Hayes, Walton on the nays. Dean Cox in second. They pant a little bit going up the slight slope here at Bovingdon, then they bounce around the top turn like nobody's business. Not one of them seems to be able to keep the front wheels on the ground at that point, but it's Coxey now leading 53 Bunyard for that second place. The man who has got it right sewn up at the moment is Carl Hayes, but they'll be reeling him in. Number 8 coming up to join the fray, that's Sean Parkinson, one of our northern boys, and he's now putting the pressure on, and in turn Dan Bunyard again. He does exactly what he did in the previous race, gives Dean Cox a nudge going into the bottom bend, and he's through. Dean Cox now about to return the favour, I think, and very nearly pounces on Sean Parkinson, but Parkinson's away from him. It's 12, it's 53, 8, 320, 356 and 306. 306 Colin Bunyard playing a bit of a waiting game. He's dropped off the pace just a little bit as the afternoon's gone on. But the man who hasn't, he's just getting quicker, is Carl Hayes. 53 Bunyard now in second place. He's got his sights on him, got a back marker to go around. Crash. Oh, he does. And he tangles up with him. That was not the best move there, was it? That's the idea, is to hit him and then not get caught up, as Dan Bunyard well knows. But I'm failing to do so on that occasion. He loses that second place. Hey, it's all part of the game. In second place now, Matt Parkinson in the 356. Dean Cox has now got a second opportunity to keep his podium finish and maybe get into second place. The leader is still going nicely. 5 laps next time. They sound like a load of enraged dumper trucks, don't they? Those single-cylinder engines barking away. Honda 390cc generator motors. And all the usual cart handling as the second, third and fourth really go for it now. We've got a good battle between these three boys. We've got Parkinson, we've got Cox, and we've got Colin Bunyard all going for it. And Colin B gets through to pinch that third position off of Dean Cox, who once again relegated, and he's going to have to go back in there hard and see if there's anything he can do. But number 12 is the man running away with it. Carl Hayes has a good quarter lap lead over everybody else, and it looks very much to me as though he's going to stay there. There's 3 laps this time for him, but who's going to get that second spot? Parkinson, he was the winner of our first heat. Bunyard in the 306 looks like he'd rather like that position. 320 Dean Cox losing touch with them just a little bit. Then we go way back to Chris Butcher in the 27 and 546 Mark Lanham. Down to the pit turn then. goes through there nice and smoothly, no problems. He's got the 7 that he's about to lap, but Carl Hayes is okay with that, I'm sure. He's got to find a way past him. He doesn't need to make a mistake by getting tangled up with him. He's got a little bit of a gap to play with. It's 356 and 306 who are the two who are going to be racing up to the line. The rest of them just a little bit strung out now. 12 goes through, the Terry Clark haulage machine. 306 Bunyard is well established now in that third position, but he just can't quite squeeze out enough to get up there with Matt Parkinson in the 356. It's going to be a long, long trip back to Yorkshire, but with a win and a second place in the final, I think Matt will be happy with that. There's the checkered flag then for our man from Wilton on the Days in Essex. And we'll go straight to the red flag. We've got all the positions. Right, we've got a couple more greetings. Happy 14th birthday to Tom Muston from Jamie. 14, eh? Oh dear, there'll be all sorts of, 14, I remember 14 very well. Although it was at least Wild Man of Wimbledon in some of his banger exploits. And in the lightning rods, he's been doing very well indeed. A long, long career of racing of one sort or another. Seems to be enjoying himself in the lightning rods, but he's hung out to dry now as the quick guys on the inside come up by. Santry, there's Daniels, and there's Wood in first, second and third. Kenny Coleman backs off as they go into the top turn, and Freddie shuts the door. There's 781 Neil Wallington looking very, very sideways as he came out of turn 4. And it's a black cross for 578, Mr. Starter, black cross 578. Steve Santry, the former 2-litre saloon stock car driver, out of Cambridgeshire with that rather smartly turned out 2-door Sierra fastback. Round out of the turn 4 he comes. He's got a lot of competition queuing up behind him for a pop. Mike Daniels in the 730, Billy Wood in the 505. We've seen that Billy has a short tolerance of being behind. He will want to pass Daniels if Daniels doesn't do something about the leader very soon. And Kenny Coleman closing up the gap. Gavin Bockfield behind that. Then Nigel Reid is going a whole lot better this time in car 484, but Neil Wallington wants a piece of him as they go into the bottom turn. Mickey Walker is there in the 355 as well. Wallington gets stuck into the side. It looked as though they were going both towards the wall coming out of the bottom bend. It's Walker who manages to make a move up there through, and he looks like he could be a challenger. But for the lead is where the challenge is going now. Mike Daniels has got on the inside in the 730 and squeezes his way by Santry, leaving not a trace of red paint down the side of the yellow car. It didn't look like a gap, there was a gap. Mike was in there, good driving by the man from Poole in Dorset in the KLK services machine. 730, 368, 730, 368, 305, 340. Look at Bockfield go. He's your man to keep an eye on, because I have a feeling that Gavin's third place won't be as far as it goes. He's coming around to complete. It's 15.57 seconds. That's as fast as anyone's gone today by about 0.00 Nats Whisker. And so Gavin is definitely in the hunt in that 305 car. Broughty is on the case. 730, 368, 305, 340, and then 355 Walker, 781 Wallington, 578 Wilkins, 319 making up a couple of places. Mick Mulcahy getting a little bit of pace out of that 319 car at last. Freddie Kinsella currently bringing up the rear. But we lost Billy Wood, and that was where we thought the big challenge would come from. Not exactly saw what went amiss with Bill's machine. He won't be best pleased with that, because he did have every prospect of getting a win in this one, I think. But 730 is your leader now. Mike Daniels, Santry in the 368, 305 Bockfield, closing the gap just ever so slightly. And it'll be 5 laps next time as they come by us. Mike Daniels is now in that last quarter of the race. This is where the pressure is on. He's led several laps now, but he's got 2 quick guys behind him. He's got Steve Santry and he's got Gavin Bockfield. It's very, very unlikely that those 2 boys will want to settle for a runner-up spot, because as far as most of these fellas are concerned, second place is the first loser. But 368 Santry, in the old days, he'd have just punted them clean out of the way with his 2-litre stock car. He can't do that in the lightning rods. He's got to find a way by, and Mike Daniels is not leaving him any room. Daniels is bang on the money. He's doing every lap pretty much the same. He's running hard, he's running fast. He's not intimidated by Santry or Botfield, and he knows his way around Bovingdon as well as anywhere. He's adapted a little bit. It's been a bit of a learning curve on account of it being a very tight little track compared with Ringwood, where he's done most of his racing in the past. But Mike Daniels certainly well in control and looking to earn himself some points as the challenge is on for second, because Steve Santry gets ever so sideways coming out of the bottom bend. 1 lap to go. Mike Daniels gets a breathing space. Steve Santry does not. It's Botfield trying to go around the outside down on the pit bend. Can he make it? Nope. Oh, Santry brakes hard as he leaves the turn. That's not what we expected to do. It certainly wasn't what Botfield expected to do, and Gavin's nudging up alongside him. Bang, bang, bang. There's the checkered flag. There will be words. And Botfield's car actually expired before the line. So I think that's... At the back of the grid, we've got those two boys who have really got a lot to do in this one. Mark Paffy in the 60, Jason Wilkes in the 110. Can they do it? They've got enough laps this time. They've got 30 laps. They can pace it a little bit, but boy, they can't hang about. They've got to get through the traffic. Mark Fuller looking all arms and elbows as he came down past us in the 68 car in pursuit of Neil Jessup in the 231, but the race is on at the front. It's Chris Harvey who gets his nose in front in the silver Corsa as they come across the line. Dave Garrett in second. Charlie Shembry again starts the race very well. The engine went off in a big way in the last race, but Charlie's got the bit between his teeth this time. Lost Chris Leheck in the Viaday of London 615. He's out there on the centre green, or the centre tarmac, I should say. It's 503 Harvey, 112 Shembry, 44 Garrett, 231 Jessup. Those are your front runners. Mark Fuller going well in the 68. Brett Collison fading a little bit in midfield. We've got Mickey Pagden up there looking like he'd like a piece of the action, along with 114 Stephen Weeks. Paffy and Wilkes have passed a few already. They're never far apart, these. Numerically less strong East Anglian brigade of hot rodders these days, but Gary carries on flying the flag in that 72 car. They've had some good races at Yarmouth this year for the Formula, and all over, in fact, the Speedworth tracks. Paul Wright is trying to put a move on. 566 Mark Crome back there in the middle spot. Then there's Lee Pepper in the 155, but it's Harvey at the moment who leads, and very nice lad from down there in Uckfield. He's been racing quite a few years now. He still only looks about 16, bless him. He does shave now, though. Chris Harvey is your leader in the 503. Charlie Shembry just down the road here in that very nice little Tigre is looking for a way by. Neil Jessup is running well in third. Jason Q once again coming through nicely, along with mad Mickey Jowers in the 31. He's not mad, he's not even mildly annoyed at the moment. He's just driving very quickly indeed. 114 Steve Weeks, 197 Mickey Pagden, 275 Brett Collison, 566 Mark Crome. That's the next one. Kevin Randall has now dropped back behind the Paffy and Wilkes train, and Kevin, the same man who very much enjoys building race cars, which he does for other people and for himself. He buys them, he sells them. He's brought that one back and reshelled it. It didn't used to be a Suzuki Baleno, like his successful championship winning car, but it is now. So it's 96 Randall having a bit of a struggle in this one. He's back there struggling with Gary Goodswan, in fact. But Paffy and Wilkes have started to move, along with Pepper in the 155. But up the front of the race, it's still Chris Harvey under pressure from Charlie Shembry, who is leading the race. 231, Neil Jessup goes a little bit wide coming out of 4, very nearly leaves an opening, but there's no way they can squeeze the extra power. Black Cross for 155, Black Cross 155. That's not something you see very often, but well, Paffy getting into it there with Paul Wright as they came out of the top turn. A little flash of panels there for sure. 503, 112, 231 and 68. Fuller gets spun around. Jason Q caught him Fuller went just that bit too far sideways, got to the point of no return, and round he went, and he collects Paul Wright on coming back into the race. And Mark Fuller is not happy about that, and I can't say as I blame him under the circumstances. He's probably as mad with himself as with anybody else, but certainly that was not a good way to finish the race. Paul Wright is out. They both got into it. But now then, where is the leader in all that excitement? I quite forgot to look. We've got Chris Harvey, we've got Charlie Shembry just 1 second behind. Neil Jessop's running ever so well in the 231, nicely sideways around the bottom turn. Jason Q behind him in the 174. Then it's Jowers in the 31, Weeks in the 114, and 197 in the West Park Contractors car of Dave Longhurst. Is Mick Pagden still piling on the pressure. Behind him, it's Paffy, it's Wilkes. They're close, but they're not close enough yet. Coming round to complete 18 laps of the circuit. It's 5:03, Chris Harvey, 96. Blue flag going for Jamie White. That tells him to hold his line, let the leaders by. Up the back straight, it's Q makes the pass on the white car, no problem at all. He's not really closing the gap though. Harvey and Shembry are certainly quick, but not much mistake, and Charlie's car starting to sound a little rough again. He really has got a bit of a gremlin. I may be wrong. We'll hear when he passes again. And it's a blue flag for 231, a blue flag for 231. There it is. And it's 5 laps next time. 5 laps for the leader, Chris Harvey, in 5:03. It's 112. Charlie Shembry still working for the war cry. He's in there in second and forward for Chris Harvey, and it won't be soon enough. Shembry's car certainly starting to sound a little bit off again, so Jason Q might just have a shot at that second place. Mick Jowers in the 4th, Stephen Weeks in 5th, Mickey Pagden is 6th. 1 lap to go. And this could be Chris Harvey's second final win in a week. If he can just hang on around this last turn. It's taken him a long time to get here, but boy, he's on form right now. He should make that red grade very soon indeed. 5:03, Chris Harvey takes the win this afternoon here at Bovingdon Raceway, and just on the line, Charlie Shembry hangs on for second. There's 7:02, Dr. Steele. There's 4:19. There's 77, Bones O'Leary. There's the grumpy old man, 6:97, Richard John. There's 2:80, our previous winner, Mark Rennick. There's 7:29, Conlon boy number 2, Lee Conlon. There's 3:33, that's Paul Gom. And 2:22, Jimmy Pryor. 5:29 is Keith Conlon. 4:10, another of those ever so grumpy boys, is Bombardier Billy Wells from London. And 1:12, Pete Stevens, bringing up the rear of this banger final. Your last race of the afternoon. They are all more or less under control. The green flag is up, they're gone. Black cross for 473, and for 77, there's a, and 760, for by goodness. We've got black crosses coming left, right and centre there. 473 just going for the lead is one of them. 702 is already in trouble. That's Jeremy Keogh, one of the Cecil Renter rookies. There's 529, Conlon is out. 473, Big Dom is in the lead, but with a black cross in hand. There's 81, John Woolley is in second place. Then 569, John Appleton. 703 running in 4th place, that's Ben Keogh. And 768 goes by him along with Bones in the 77. And a black flag for 714. Black flag 714. Through the bottom bend then, it's Dom Darrington in the 473 who heads him up the back stretch. 701, a black flag. 701 and 701 714 is already off. And that's the punctured tyres on the cars that have been black flagged. It's not always about a discipline matter, it's to do with the car and safety. You can get a rim dig in very easily and wind up upside down in a big way. These cars not built to quite the same rugged standard as a stock car or the national bangers, so we do like to try and keep them upright if we can. Of course, they always try and defeat gravity and prove that it can be done, and upside down they will go. We haven't had too much of that today. And 714 is a black flag. It's still a black flag. He's still got a flat tyre, albeit it is only flat at the bottom. It's 473 who leads, we think. Oh yes, we do. There we are, we've got him. And he's got a challenge on from Stevens in the 112, and O'Leary, who appears to have come to join the fray. And in fact, Bones it is that now leads. He was making a most determined effort there in that little Fiesta, and so was 710. He's trying to hook two of them out of one. There's a suspension spring has gone wanging across the centre field from 753's car, Paul Fosh, losing bits and pieces from the machine as he gets a tidy whack up the rear quarters of his banger. Black flag it is for 714. It doesn't seem to have quite got the message. 768 is off, but it's Bones who leads in the 77. And then it's 424, and 112 Pete Stevens now running in third, then 280 in fourth, and Mark Rennick again going nicely. The black flag is still out for 714. He still fails to see it. In fifth place is Dom Darrington, and we got 5 laps next time. A little bit of steam and smoke from the 222, but it's Tony Bones O'Leary who leads from the London man, coming down past the starter's position now. He's into the last quarter of the race, and not a challenger in sight at the moment, because 424 is quite a long way behind. In fact, we've lost 424. Look, yep, he's going off on the bottom, or is he? No, he's just slowed right up. Pete Stevens, now the track championship leader, is in second place, looking for some useful points. 280, Mark Rennick is moving up in fourth position. Beyond that, things get a little hazy, but Dom Darrington's still on the go. 135, he's still with us, and looking fairly lively. O'Leary's managing to avoid all the big hits just at the moment, and nobody's succeeded in stopping him, so he goes on his merry way. Round the bottom turn, it's Bones, but 81 gets him sideways and promptly parks himself, John Woolley, in the parked car just coming out of turn 2. So O'Leary escapes unscathed from that one. There he is. Bones goes on his way with 2 laps to go. Nobody much inside who can stop him. Up front, there's a fellow who might just try if he comes alongside, 569 John Appleton. He's a bit of an action man. It may be that Tony doesn't have to test that. He faces everything aye. He's got plenty of room between himself and Pete Stevens. He doesn't need to worry too much. Looking a very likely winner now, as Stevens definitely spins out Nick Tasman in the 329. Nick Parrish, 81, is about to get some from 280, but he knows somewhere or another Mark Rennick doesn't deliver and passes him by as Tony Bones O'Leary takes the checkered flag on this banger final. 112, Pete Stevens collects the second spot. We're waiting for the third place man now. And it's 280, there he goes. 280 takes the third. We still got to keep him coming. 135 takes the fourth, 81, and it's a red flag around the track. Thank you very much indeed. Well, that's a bit of a wrap for the racing this afternoon.